Thank you very much, and welcome to our Blessed Center for Spiritual Living. Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, a center of love where we are here to be love, share love, and serve love. Thanks for joining us today, and I'm going to pass the word to Reverend Jennifer.
Good morning. I'm here to just go over the announcements that you've been watching on the screen and maybe expound on some. So if you are new to the center and you want to know more about things, or I talk too fast, which happens, everything I'm talking about is on our website at www.venturacsl.org. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So whatever you like to, or however you like to connect, you can connect with us. If you have questions and you're here in person, you have questions after service, we'll have somebody at our concierge desk, which is on that side of the social hall, and they'll be able to answer any of your questions. And if you still don't know where to look, there's some people here that have teal stoles. They are ambassadors, so we've got Pam Kelly there in the back, and Rhina, I don't know where Rhina is, but they have their teal stoles on, and they'll be able to answer questions as well. So lots of ways to get your questions answered. We have this beautiful orchid arrangement that was donated, and I think, you know what we're going to do? I think we're going to wait for church to fill up a little bit more, and we're going to have people see if they've won the arrangement. It's in the chair somehow, so if you find it before then, don't scream out during church like I found it. But just be aware. Let's see, today is April 28th. That means it is the last day for Gourmets for God bidding. Woo! So, yes, this is very yummy. It's a lot of fun. If you don't know what Gourmets for God is, okay, who has been to a Gourmets for God party? Raise your hand. So if you've never been to a Gourmets for God party, look for the people who have their hands raised, and then go talk to them after church, and they can tell you all about it, because it'll be more fun that way. Let's see, what's coming up now? In May, because we're almost in May. Can you believe we're almost in May, Bonnie? I can't believe May's here, right? It's 2024, May of 2020. Whew. All right, so WESAC, the Taste of Liberation WESAC service is going to be Saturday, May 18th, 10 to 11:30 in the center right here. It's facilitated by David Kerrigan and Brock Travis. This is a celebration of the Buddha's birth, awakening, and final passing. We will have meditation, chanting, and inspiration for living in the world today. So that's a wonderful way to spend a Saturday morning and to become one with yourself. It's really great. Let's see, next month we also have a new class, Heartivism Part 2. It's in person and on Zoom. It starts May 23rd for in person in the evenings at 6:30 to 8:30, and May 24th, Fridays on Zoom from 11:30 to 1. Do you want to talk about it?
Next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Reverend Bonnie's facilitating it, and she'll talk about it next week. Let's see, the third Wednesday Science and Spirituality discussion group, that's not until May 15th. It's and it's 6:30 to 8. They've had 2 meetings so far. That's a monthly meeting, and I've heard they've been amazing, and so it's a really fun discussion group, nice large group, to talk about where science and spirituality meet and how they actually are used to reinforce each other. They're not at odds. They actually reinforce each other, so it's fun. If you are looking for a way to volunteer, awesome. We have lots of opportunities for volunteering. We have some things coming up, some church beautification days and different things. And if you want to help with hospitality or with the tech or anything, see Miss Bernie Austin over here. She's waving her hands. She's our volunteer coordinator and board member, and she will get you situated and find out where you can volunteer. We have choir rehearsal today at 11:30. So Mary's, the choir director, shaking her head yes, and her husband's shaking his head no. Oh, okay. So the choir rehearsal starts at noon after the Gourmets for God bidding. So the choir can get in there and elbow and knuckle and fight with everybody else until noon for the Gourmets for God bidding. Sorry, that's a roller derby song. Anyway, let's see. after service options, we have hospitality. So there's coffee, there's some snacks, there's tea, there's hot chocolate if you like to put hot chocolate in your coffee to make it taste good. We have all sorts of stuff over there, so check it out. And so really quick, with the hospitality, we're trying to move away from single-use products. So we have community mugs. They're on the shelf in here. There's some put on the table. So all we ask is they're for you to use. Use them, rinse them, put them back on the hook on the shelf. That's it, and you don't have to use a paper mug. And I like a ceramic mug anyway. So if you have any questions, there's 2 young men with Be Kind T-shirts that will be running around filling things, and they will help you out and know where the mugs are. They're looking at me like, what? You didn't say I was going to talk to people. I'm like, yeah, you're going to talk to people today. So they have Be Kind T-shirts on, so you'll be able to see them. And for everybody watching on Facebook or on YouTube, like, share, comment. I forgot to write it down. Sorry, Garrett. What you're supposed to do when you're on YouTube. He's my YouTube guy, so.
Okay.
And that's it.
Are we good? Great, thank you. You guys?
We've been calling our recycling creative transformations and talking about how when we take something that appears to be discarded, that appears to be junk, that appears to be something no one needs any longer, with new eyes, it can become a work of art, something beautiful. So we brought a few things in, good morning, that we started creating last week. And those are our recycling monsters, we call them, sometimes. Depends on what's created and the thought that goes into it. And we also have our Stuffy project. And that is where we're restuffing stuffies that have been donated and stuffing them with something that they could be washed so we can keep them clean. And then we're going to donate those to the Circle of Blessings. And then each child is going to be able to take one home. All right. I wanted to share with you this morning and my group, recycling is fun. Just to remind us all. And it rhymes. My favorite, right? All right. Recycling is a lot of fun for you and me and everyone. Putting paper in its place puts a smile upon your face. It does mine. Paper, plastic, glass, and tin. We put each one into a bin. We do. Hooray, hooray, recycling day. Is that what you say at your house? A big truck takes our trash away. We clean out all our dresser drawers and donate clothes to Goodwill stores. We save some buttons from the box and make hand poppets from the socks. Hadn't thought of that, had you? We cut old sleeves and then we make each one of our friends a big pet snake. Sunday afternoon. We help the planet when we choose to recycle and reuse. Creative Tot Time. If you want to borrow this book, you're welcome to. Come on over to Youth and Family. We need an opportunity and see what else there is. We call this creative reimagining, seeing what we might call junk with new eyes, fresh eyes. Do you want to show your creations? You want to stand up? All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ready? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll sing You Are the Face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie, and thank you, everyone. Have fun. All righty. Say what? No, my cat did. We'll talk. Talk to me after the service, okay? We'll tell you more. Oops. There you go. All righty. Hey, Susie? Susie? Susie Q. There you go. Okay. Whew. Weren't they? Right. Beautiful cats, I might add. All righty. So let's go ahead, and our practitioner, Lita, will lead us in prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Will the practitioners and ministers please stand? And if it's comfortable, you can place your hands on your heart as we move into prayer. How grateful I am to know that God is all there is. God is joy expressing in, through, and as me, and in, through, and as everyone in this sanctuary, in, through, and around everyone who's watching. How grateful I am to invite joy into my life and into your life. We open and receive joy in our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts, in our relationships, and in all we do. Joy, thank you for finding a home in my heart, finding an expression in my words, in everything that I do. And again, as I know this for myself, I know this for everyone here. We partner with joy. We graft it into our very being, and we express it without hesitation in its beauty and its boldness. So I'm so grateful that joy is moving through us today, through Kyla and Chris as they play music and as she sings, through Bonnie's message, through all of our interactions together. So thank you, Joy, for everything that you give us, and may we ripple your presence everywhere we go. With a heart that is full of this joy, I release my word to the divine mystery. It is done, it is perfect, it is complete, and together we say,
And so it is. Thank you, Lita. Let us stay in that consciousness of abundant joy as we breathe in deeply. Breathing in and letting go, allowing ourselves to be, and settling deeper into the inner being that is the divine joy, as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
Adapted from the writings of Cy Montgomery, author of The Soul of an Octopus. Our third week with the octopus. I often wish I could go back in time and tell my young, anxious self that my dreams weren't in vain and my sorrows weren't permanent. I can't do that, but I can do something better. I can tell you that teachers are all around to help you, with 4 legs, or 2, or 8, or none at all. Some with internal skeletons, some without. All you have to do is recognize them as teachers and be ready to hear their truths. For example, while stroking an octopus, it is easy to fall into reverie. To share such a moment of deep tranquility with another being, especially one as different from us as the octopus. It's a humbling privilege. It's a shared sweetness, a gentle miracle, an uplink to universal consciousness, the sharing of an intelligence that animates and organizes all life. Though some of the ministers of my youth might be appalled, I feel blessed by the thought of sharing with an octopus an infinite, eternal ocean of intelligent energy. Who would know more about the infinite, eternal ocean than an octopus? And what could be more calming than being cradled in its arms, surrounded by the water from which life itself arose? My friend Wilson and I contemplated this as we stroked Octopus Kaylee's head. We contemplate the peace that passes all understanding. And then splash, we're hosed. The octopus funnel, less than an inch in diameter, hits us both at once, soaking our faces, our hair, our shirts, and our pants with 47-degree Fahrenheit salt water. Why? I spluttered. Is she mad at us? We both leaned over the barrel to see how she looks up at us innocently. That was playful, Wilson says. We put our hands back into the water, and Kaylee points her funnel at us again, like a kid aiming a squirt gun. My message to you is this: go out into the world where your heart calls you. Blessings will come, I promise you. I wish for you the insight to recognize the blessings as such, and sometimes it's hard, but you'll know it's a blessing if you are enriched and transformed by the experience. So be ready. There are great souls and teachers everywhere. It's your job to recognize them. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And so let us breathe in deeply in that playfulness, in that joy, in that wisdom, knowing that as we breathe in and breathe out, as we are always, we are part of that eternal energy of life, that infinite ocean that is consciousness. Together we rest and remember that. As we sing, I am remembering who I am. We know this truth for ourselves, but we know it for all beings everywhere. For everything animate, for everything that we call inanimate, all of these things are the energy of divine love. And so let us know that now as we sing together, I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering resting in that beautiful ocean of divine remembering. Let us breathe in deeply. Then exhale, gently opening our eyes as love, in love, and in service to what is, as it is, and so it is.
Good morning. So I have 2 song selections for you today. And this first one is about, I'm tangled. Okay, there we go. This first one is from the Oscar-winning movie Barbie. Did anyone see Barbie? Yeah. So sometimes when we are trying to live our most authentic lives and be our most authentic selves, we can have doubts and get a little lost along the way. So this first song is about questioning exactly what we're made for. I used to float, now I just fall down. I used to know, but I'm not sure now what I was made for. What was I made for? Taking a drive, I wasn't ideal, looked so alive. Turns out I'm not real, just something you paid for. What was I made for? 'Cause I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try. Someday I might. When did it end? All the enjoyment. I'm sad again. Don't tell my boyfriend it's not what he's made for. What was I made for? 'Cause I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try. I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. Someday I might. Think I forgot how to be happy. Something I'm not, but something I can be. Something I wait for. Something I'm made for. Something I'm made for.
Thanks, little Kayla. Thank you. Appreciate that. There we go. Beautiful. Doreen's in the front laughing. So the talk this morning is The Universe is Calling. Now what? Earlier this year, I went to a service at a Christian church. The minister is a friend of mine. And I went to just enjoy a midweek service with them. His wife, who is a chaplain, was doing the speaking. She's kind of a rebel, so we get along well. So. She mentioned in her talk that there were 2 passages in her Bible that she underlined. Only 2 out of the whole Bible. The first one was one that I say here a lot. It's Matthew 25, and I'll just paraphrase it. It's when Jesus says, basically, if you feed me, you feed all of us. Whoever does something good to the least of my brethren, brothers and sisters, you do unto me, the Christ. And he's affirming that we're all one, that we're all one in consciousness. So that was the first verse. The second verse that this minister, chaplain, had underlined was this: Lord, please send someone else. Oh, can anybody relate to that? Okay. Right. It's from the Moses story. Yep. That's a very, well, it's Charlton Heston, first of all. It's not really Moses. They didn't have pictures back then. Anyway, Moses is minding his own business. He's had to flee Egypt, and he's minding his own business, and God appears in a burning bush, and all of this stuff happens, all of this hoop-de-da happens, and finally God's trying to convince him to go and lead the Hebrew slaves out of Egypt, out of darkness. And Moses says, Lord, please send somebody else. This is the week of Passover. Happy Passover to anybody who might be celebrating Passover. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Lord, please send someone else. Let's take a jump to that octopus reading that Hugh did. This is a picture of the book that we're featuring this month, The Soul of an Octopus, and there's a picture of the author with a tarantula on her shoulder, as we all do from time to time, right? She embraces every species. But in this book, in this reading that Hugh did, talks about how the ocean is an infinite sea of awareness, an infinite sea of eternal life force. And to me, it sounds like she's talking about God. From the way that we teach God in this spiritual teaching is we say that God is infinite energy, God is infinite consciousness, infinite awareness. And there are waves of consciousness coming at us always. And because God is perfect, because the universe is perfect, we have the free will to say yes or no to the waves. Sometimes yes is a good thing, sometimes no is a good thing. But we get to choose because we have free will. The challenge with that, though, is that sometimes we're being called to something great and we insist on our no. Imagine Moses riding in that infinite sea of consciousness. And there he is, and a big wave of energy is coming at him saying, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, this is going to change your life. And what does he say? Please send someone else. Or, what else you got? Waves of greatness. We have a science and spirituality group here, and I'm sure they talk about quantum physics and what the bleep do you know, where they talk about how waves of possibility exist, and then as we focus on them, as we see them, then they go into a particulate reality. Waves of possibility exist to become a particulate reality, right? Waves of joy, freedom, well-being, peace, and the all-goodness await your yes. But isn't it funny that sometimes we say no? Now might be a good time to ask, what's my wave of possibility? Am I seeking? What am I seeking? What was I made for? Was I made for joy, greater freedom, well-being, peace, abundance, understanding, health, or anything else that comes to mind? Sometimes the places where we're challenged bring up this need for a new wave in us. And sometimes the solutions are presented, and yet we still say no to them. But it's good to know what we want. And it's often good to think of it in terms of generalities to start: joy, freedom, well-being, peace, abundance, health, other. So if we look at a situation in our life that feels problematic, we can say, how do I wish to feel in this situation? If I'm having trouble with my health, I might say, I wish to feel strong and healthy and courageous. If I'm having trouble in finances, I might say, I wish to feel the abundance of God. If I'm struggling in a relationship, I might say, I want to feel peace. I want to understand. I want understanding. So take a moment to check in and see, what is it that you're seeking in your life? And know that as you are seeking that wave of possibility is seeking you. You wouldn't have the situation, the challenge, unless the wave had your name on it. So check in with your inner Moses, right? Because I find for myself that sometimes I say, okay, I want more joy in this situation. And then something comes up and I'm like, no, but not that joy, right? I want more peace, but over here I'd rather be stressed for a while longer. Moses is expressing his doubt that he's not enough, his doubt that it doesn't belong to him, his doubt that he doesn't deserve it. There's Doreen and Joan again. You know, to me, I put this picture up in this place because sometimes when the Spirit offers us something great, we're going, we're laughing at it, and that's kind of one of the interpretation of that picture, right? Yeah, okay, maybe not, but anyway, I like it. One of the things that I experience in my life, that's me, a picture of me with a dog cone on my head, and I put that picture on because sometimes I think, gosh, Bonnie, you're too weird to do what you do. I keep getting called to these places where I have to stand in public and speak or train in a medical device company or be on the stage or what have you. And I'm like, you're just a weirdo, Bonnie. You can't do that. You don't have, see, I've got a dog cone on my head. Can you appreciate that? My dog, I didn't rip it off the dog so he ripped out his sutures. He wasn't wearing it anyway, so I put it on my head for fun. I see Ed's giving me a high five up there. Okay, I got a dog cone on my head. What right do I have to take up space on a stage? It's kind of a leap, isn't it? But that's how our minds work. We come up with the reasons why we can't have something, hence the dog cone, and then we multiply that and magnify it and argue for it. We argue for our limitations. Last year, a little over a year ago, I went to a party for first graders. Now, you may recognize this as the scene from the Ten Commandments where Moses goes up to receive the Ten Commandments, and the Hebrew people lose faith, and they have this big bacchanal, and they make an Egyptian god that they worship. And then all kinds of tomfoolery ensues from that. And that reminded me of this party for first graders. There were 25 of them, and they had all had way too much sugar, right? Anybody been there? Yeah. It was actually super fun. My sister was in town a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned the party to her and how much fun it was and how much of a spiritual lesson it was for me. She's like, are you kidding me? What? And I was like, well, it was this game that we played. My sister and her grandson, who's actually my great-nephew, the birthday boy, took some butcher block paper, a long strip of it about as long as a stage, and they painted it with lumpy orange paint. And that was lava. They called it lava. Evidently, there's a TV show called The Floor is Lava. Has anyone seen it? Okay, Mark, good for you. Yeah, okay, you too. I thought it was just for kids, but there you go. Okay. Anyway, so they had this obstacle course where the kids could not touch the lava with their feet. Oh my goodness, that became their reality. They were so committed to this idea that the floor is lava. First, they consented to the idea that this lumpy orange paint on butcher block paper was lava, and then they refused to touch it with their feet. And if they accidentally stepped in it, oh the shame, the agony of stepping in this lava. That was, again, orange paint, lumpy orange paint on butcher block paper. Now, how is this like us? You got me. I don't know. You got to. No, I'm kidding. No. It's like us in that we commit to limited views of reality. We commit to this idea of, I can't have that. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to take a place on a stage. I don't deserve abundance. I don't deserve a good relationship. And that becomes our reality. We first consent to that reality, and then we commit to it, just like we're little kids at a birthday party, leaping over this fake lava. So look at what you tell yourself about why you can't have that wave that is calling you, and then ask yourself, what's my lava? What's your lava? What's your lava? What doubt stands in the way? Where are you saying, Lord, please send somebody else? What doubt stands in the way? What are you telling yourself? What's your story? And how committed are you to seeing that story as reality? Guess what? It may not be as real as you think it is. It may be completely false. And then, how might you let go and accept a new wave of possibility? Waves of divine assistance. There's that old story, I'm sure you've heard it, where there's a guy stranded on a desert island and he prays to God for assistance, and a rowboat comes by and a canoe comes by and a helicopter comes by, and the guy says, God, why did you forsake me? And he's like, I sent you a helicopter and a rowboat and a canoe. Sometimes we ask for divine assistance and then reject what is coming our way. Okay, that sounded like I hit a nerve over here. I'm not sure who did that, but Moses is in the desert going yakety yak, right? Telling God all of the reasons why he cannot do what God has called him to do. And one of the things he says is that he's not fluent in speech. Evidently, he had a stutter or something, and he can't speak. He doesn't have the words to convince the Pharaoh to let them out of Egypt. God finally says, all right already. I'm quoting the Bible directly here. All right already. All right already. I'm going to send you your brother Aaron to go with you. That's not the Charlton Heston version, by the way. That's a different version of the Moses story. But I'm going to send your brother with you. And Moses says yes. He agrees if he gets help. Now, Moses, the Passover story, the Bible brings you Aaron. I'm going to bring you Dr. Phil. I wish I could do a Dr. Phil imitation, but I haven't listened to him enough to be able to do that. Maybe next time. But anyway, one thing that Dr. Phil says that I heard recently is that, when you drive, you have a little tiny rearview mirror and a big windshield. What do you think the significance of that is? The significance of that is that we only need to glance behind us and learn, right? But it's much more important to be focused forward on what is to come. And the metaphor in that is that we only need to glance back at our mistakes. Just glance at them, learn from them, but keep our focus forward on what is next. What new wave of possibility is coming in to sweep us off our feet into greater joy, abundance, freedom, happiness, health. I'm inviting all of us to look through the windshield today, to spend a little time looking in the rearview mirror, but primarily to look through the windshield, to be focused on what is right in front of us. What is right in front of us? One thing that we can do is to release negative micro-agreements right now. You know, when I was talking about the lava before and how the kids all collectively agreed that that was lava and they would burn their feet if they stepped in it, what negative micro-agreements are you making right now? Such as, I don't deserve to be up here, or I don't deserve this or that, or I'm not talented enough to bring forth abundance, or abundance has never worked for me, or this teaching doesn't work for me, or prayer doesn't work, or anything like that. What negative micro-agreements are you making right now? And can you recognize and practice macro truths now? One of the macro truths that we teach in this teaching is that God is all there is, and God is good. And if something is coming up, it is coming up for our healing and for our revelation. We can look at it anew and know that it has only as much power as we give it. So we look at our stories, we look at our micro agreements, and we apply the macro truth of God is bigger than this thing that I'm telling myself. I no longer need to consent to this limited version of reality that I play in my head over and over again. And even that playing it over and over in our heads again and again can be a beautiful thing. Because each time we replay an old story, it gives us a chance to practice the macro truths of God's omnipresence, the waves of possibility that are constantly flowing into our lives, not only our lives, but the life of the world as well. The thing about that, though, is that we do have to have respect for divine timing. Joel Goldsmith has taught me a lot about this. Joel Goldsmith is a kind of an old school spiritual teacher, and he's always talking about fruitage. Fruitage. Is that a real word? Fruitage? I guess it is, okay. Okay. I just like it because it's old-fashioned. He's always saying that the tree will bear fruitage in its own time, right? Are we serving fruitage in hospitality today? I hope so. Anyway, the hospitality will bear fruitage in its own time. And what that means is that, yes, we pray and we know that the reality of God is present now and it will come into manifestation in the right time. It will come into being in the right time, and we simply are patient, we watch and pray, and we continue to know the truth. And we are also unattached to the specific form that the manifestation has to take. Problems, yuck. That's something that Hugh says to me sometimes. Problems, yuck. He learned it from a dervish, the head of the dervishes, the King Dervish. I can't remember his name or his title. The King Dervish in Turkey. Problems, yuck, means no problems. Problems do not exist. Problems, yuck, is the same thing as saying presence now. It's what I just talked about, of recognizing that a problem is here to teach us, to inspire us to practice, and our practice is to bring forth the presence of the living one right here and right now in whatever is going on. Whatever is going on. Every problem is an opportunity to practice the presence of a greater reality that embraces and transcends all appearances. Now, this is a whole other talk because probably someone will come up to the service after me and say, but what about suffering? That's a whole other talk. But I will tell you that all of the things that we don't like in life, all of that suffering, it's all part of God too. Because if we didn't have suffering, we wouldn't know compassion. And suffering is no longer suffering when we do not suffer over our suffering. Suffering is no longer suffering when we reframe it as an opportunity to practice. Scarcity is no longer scarcity when we reframe it as an opportunity to practice the presence, to know the power and the presence of the living waves of spirit in everything that happens. Scarcity is no longer that. Even poor health. Poor health is the one that I don't have poor health, but I struggle sometimes with health because I have a medical background, and medicine is very linear. There's cause and there's effect. But what if there's a health issue, we call forth the presence right now and allow it to bear fruit in its own time and trust that all is well in the kingdom, in the realm, in the consciousness of heaven that is not just up there, is in here as well. All is well, right here and right now. That business about bearing fruitage, that's aligning with divine timing, and I thought this needed a little bit of extra attention. One way to align with divine timing is to renounce and enjoy. I've told this story a lot. Gandhi's 3 favorite words were renounce and enjoy. I like the enjoy part. The renounce part could be problematic. If we renounce, does it mean that we have to give up pleasure? Does it mean that we have to give up what we like? I used to always say, if I renounce, if I surrender to spirit, am I going to wind up living in a hut in Guam? And then there was somebody from Guam in the church, and she's like, Guam is actually a really nice place. You could do worse. Giving up pleasure. I think for some of us that might bring forth that type of energy. I'm fond of saying, I put the nun in renunciation. But what I've discovered through a practice of renunciation, which means basically giving up the death grip that I have on reality, giving up my desire to be like Bernie Austin and want to control the entire universe, right, Bernie? Bernie always says this, sorry. Giving up the desire to have things be my way in my time, when I renounce that and know that there is a greater good that is beyond my control, all I need to do is open up to receive it, then you know what? Renouncement is joy. Renunciation is joy. It took me a long time to realize that and to really feel it. I don't always feel it, but I feel it a lot now. Giving up that which no longer serves us is joy. I'm laughing, I'm smiling, because that should make total sense, shouldn't it? Give up what no longer serves you should be joy. Doesn't always feel that way. Doesn't always feel that way. We're in the middle of it. But just know with me right now that renunciation, giving up our clinging, giving up our attachment, giving up our ego attachment to things need to be, giving up our attachment to time, all of that renunciation is joy. If you don't believe it, try it and see. If it doesn't work for you, go back to clinging. That's what works. Okay. All right. Another way to align with divine timing, and that is, it's fine to have personal aspirations. I'm sure that everybody here has a personal aspiration of how you want your life to be, how we want our life to be, what we want to come into our life, what we want to express. It's fine to have personal aspirations. However, if we let greatness use us, a greatness that is greater than our imagination, use us for the good of all, that seems to escalate, enhance the divine timing. And I'll say why in a minute. Service sets us free, allowing the spiritual qualities that we want to call forth in our lives, allowing them into ourselves, but using them to serve others. That sets us free. Because giving joy is the same as receiving joy, and giving abundance is the same as receiving abundance. All of that sets us free. And if we don't know how we want to serve or where we want to serve anyway. And also notice where you are already serving, because I trust that everybody here is serving in some way. If you have a relationship with anybody or anything, a dog, a child, a pet, another human being, you're serving. You're serving. And then another thing about using greatness for the good of all, our shared greatness amplifies greatness. Wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody knew their greatness? If everybody practiced, if everybody knew their greatness? And our willingness to share our greatness, to trust our greatness enough to share it, that's an affirmation for ourselves, but it's also affirming the greatness in others. And what a wonderful place to be. What a wonderful world to live in. That place where we're all amplifying one another's greatness. And this is why it helps with divine timing. When we are sharing of ourselves, when we are rippling joy, when we are multiplying abundance, when we are multiplying anything, any good thing that we wish to see here in the realm of heaven on earth, we experience instant gratification and gratitude. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said that the answer to prayer is the prayer itself. And so that means that a shift in consciousness, whether it's mental consciousness or the consciousness of the body that is giving of itself, that is answered prayer already, because we are becoming the prayer that we wish to see in the world. We do a lot of rippling here at the center. We do a lot of multiplying greatness, multiplying our gifts. And I'll tell you what, there was a huge multiplication here recently, and that was the multiplication of bunnies that took place right here on this stage. Right here on this stage. We did a bunny collection, and it's sort of an epic story as to how this happened, but basically I was teaching a seminar in South Carolina. I met somebody who used to attend this church. She just happened to run it. She just happened to attend my seminar and came up to me afterwards. She mentioned that her church was doing a bunny drive. We have bunnies here. We have real bunnies out and back. We have bunny consciousness. Also, we had a sad story recently where a congregant's daughter passed away, and this daughter loved bunnies. And so we quietly collected all of these bunnies in quiet honor of Amber. And then we sent them to North Carolina, where this church was that was collecting bunnies for a children's trauma center. Now, what happened with that is that when the minister of that church found out that we were collecting bunnies, she asked other churches to collect bunnies. I told you bunnies multiply, right? You know that, yeah. And they ended up collecting 320 bunnies that they gave to children in the trauma center. And the minister said the staff was absolutely blown away. But what moves me even more is to think that a child that has been through a trauma is going to receive one of those bunnies that you selected with love and care and attention. You're going to help a child that you never even met, that you probably never will meet. And who knows, knowing that ripples are real, knowing that acts of goodness, acts of sharing are acts of greatness, who knows where that can go? And so my hope for all of us today is that we know that we are already great, that there is a wave of greatness waiting to pour through us, that we absolutely say yes to that wave, that we allow it to be, that we look at our doubts and our fears and we just say, problems, yuck, oh, you have no meaning unless I give you meaning. I'm not going to micro-agree with you anymore. I'm going to accept, practice the presence, practice a larger reality, and call forth that beingness of God that can infuse any area of my life. We know all of that now, and we share it with others. And so let us say together, let's read this together. Here we go. And when it's capitalized, yell it, okay? Okay, here we go. I say yes to greatness. My life is great now. My greatness blesses your greatness. Your greatness blesses my greatness. And so it is. That was great, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. All righty, let us pray. Turning within, I move into that place where I remember that there truly is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is possibility, energy, peace, power, abundance, understanding. All of this that my words can only merely capture. It is so much more than what I can imagine, but I open my heart and my mind and my being to receive that right here and right now. And so I know that for each and every single person sitting in this sanctuary, that we too are connected to that great presence, to that infinite ocean of life, to that beautiful spirit that lives and moves and has its perfect being in each of us. And so right now I know that this community is healed and whole, that every single person in here is finding exactly what they need, that the love of Spirit, the joy of Spirit, the abundance of Spirit is pouring in and through everyone's life, that we practice the presence, that we open our hearts to believe, and that we ripple that greatness, that grace outwards as it ripples to us, multiplied abundantly. There is no beginning, there is no end, there is just eternity, and we participate in that eternity with faith and heart and joy. And so I'm so grateful for this truth, so grateful for this power, so grateful for this presence of Spirit. I bless all paths to Spirit. I bless churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists, agnostics. I bless everyone. And with a heart that is so filled with blessing, I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, love. And I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste.
We go. You look around and staring back at you. Another wave of doubt. Will it pull you under? You wonder, what if I'm overtaken? What if I never make it? What if no one's there? Will you hear my prayer when you take that first step into the unknown? Love won't let you go. So what are you waiting for? What do you have to lose? Your insecurities, they try to alter you. You know you're made for more, so don't be afraid to move. Your faith is all it takes, and you can walk on the water too. So get out and let your fear fall to the ground. No time to waste. Don't wait. Don't you turn around and miss out on everything you were made for. I know you're not sure, so you play it safe or try to run away. But when you take that first step into the unknown, love won't let you go. So what are you waiting for? What do you have to lose? Your insecurities, they try to alter you. You know you're made for more, so don't be afraid to move. Your faith is all it takes, and you can walk on the water. Step out even when it's storming. Step out even when you're broken. Step out even when your heart is telling you to give up. Step out when your hope is stolen. You can't see where you're going. Don't have to be afraid. No, no, no. What are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Ooh, there's so much more. So what are you waiting for? What do you have to lose? Your insecurities, they try to alter you. You know you're made for more, so don't be afraid to move. Your faith is all it takes, and you can walk on the water. Walk on the water too.
Oh, it's time to go, people. So why don't we just all take a deep breath in, let it all settle down again, and just know with me that we are all love. So let's anchor that knowing into our affirmation, and we read this together. We are love. We share love. We serve love in every part of our lives. Thank you for our lives, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you.